Kobe, there's a for sure chance that this podcast can only go up for now.
But Barry, what are our chances?
98%. Super. It's super guaranteed. Oh my gosh, what's going on, guys? My name is Barry.
This is Colby.
And this is the Who Watches This Podcast. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the last movie of Surreal Month.
We're going to have to do this category again in the future because this was a ton of fun.
Yeah, super broad spectrum, really. Like, there's so many subgenres for this. It was really interesting to see like all the different type of movies that I was like kind of like trying to choose from. And I was like, oh, that's kind of different. So it's like a real good mixed bag of just batshit crazy movies, but not so batshit that it's like Fear and Loathing is pretty batshit.
Right? Yeah.
This is more like normal. It's batshit in the normal way. I don't know how to say that. Because we did have the first movie. We did have Daniel Radcliffe farting all the time. So,
right. That was
pretty off the wall.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But no, this one was kind of interesting. It actually popped up on my TikTok feed, and I was like, "What is this movie about?" I was like, "Why is he so mean to her?"
I had not ever even heard of this.
I know. My For You page on TikTok is it's a smorgasbord of weirdness. Like one video, it's a 3D printed arms for a cat that looks like it's like saying like put 'em up. And then it's like food stuff, and then it's like quirky movies. And then, like, once in a while I get a girl shaking her butt, but I mean, I'm only a man,
Right. They got to throw that out there. Be like, you still interested in this? Okay, you watched it to the end. Yeah. We'll keep throwing those to you every once in a while.
I know. So, like, I've been trying to fix my algorithm, so like, I'll watch it until like the last 5 seconds. I'm like, oh, we'll swipe away. Oh, but today's movie, it's really, man.
So you watch it just long enough that they don't get paid. Mm-hmm. Nice.
That's right. That's right. All these shaking booty videos is easy money for people.
It's our next venture.
Yeah, but
we only have me shaking booties.
We only have one demographic though. It's the bear lovers.
Yep. Those Germans. Yeah.
But we the movie for today, for the last movie, is starring two pretty prominent names.
Yeah.
In Western cinema or Western pop culture, right? So let's get to our Rhymefest trailer where we reveal the movie. I don't know why. Today was a rough day for me. All right. Sarah is sad, unfulfilled, and might just end it all. But life doesn't like DIYers and says, "Pass me the ball." When it starts to come down on her, she might cease to be present. The doctor tells her she can order a replacement. Last night, always, these sound like they should rhyme.
Eminem would have made it rhyme.
But all's not well when the clone gets more ambition, and Sarah's sickness falls into remission. Who will still be left standing at this fate so cruel? Let's find out in 2022's indie movie Duel.
Nice. You wrapped it up well.
The wrap up has to be like, that's where it matters,
Yeah.
As long as you finish strong. But today we're going to be talking about the movie Duel from 2022 starring Karen Gillan. I believe that's how her name is said, and Aaron
Yeah,
Paul.
right. Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad and I think Need for Speed, the terrible Need for Speed movie.
Okay, yep.
You
I,
know,
I agree.
I feel it's weird, right? Because Aaron Paul showed a huge amount of range in Breaking Bad. I mean, he's still
Right.
like everyone's like, oh yeah, Jesse Pinkman, but he's like he's a really good actor, and
Oh,
yet
definitely.
it feels like he's having, or maybe he's just on a break. Maybe he's made enough money from Breaking Bad that he could just pick like little indie films that he could just pop in, like fucking Matt Damon.
Oh, like we said with Daniel Radcliffe. Yeah,
Mm.
he made that Harry Potter money, and now he can just kind of pick and choose and just do the fun things that he's passionate about.
But like, yeah, but like Daniel Radcliffe is like starring in movies.
Right?
It
Yeah,
feels
yeah,
more like not Jesse Pinkman. Freaking Aaron Paul is just kind of just like popping up here and there, like Matt Damon with cameos.
yeah. Okay, I see what you mean.
Yeah,
I You think it's because he's short?
maybe.
He just doesn't quite have that like.
But Daniel Radcliffe is also short. Matt Damon is
Yeah,
pretty short. You know, it's just a camera and like watching them on big screen movie screens that make them look taller.
right.
Tom Cruise is super short.
Oh no, you're right. You're right.
So I don't know. I don't know what like what. It's nothing wrong. He obviously has enough money to never work again.
Okay. So my Aaron, actually have an Aaron Paul story.
Oh, okay.
Um, so San Diego Comic Con, man, while Breaking Bad was at its height.
Yeah.
So what was that? Got to be 10, 12 years ago.
2010, 2014
Yeah,
era.
yeah, in there. My buddy and I were there. If anybody's San Diego Comic Con, Hall H, that's the place to be on Saturday because that's all the big theaters do their like releases. There's always the Marvel panel, the DC panel, the Disney panel, all in Hall H. So there is a just the most horrendous line ever for Hall H. Like you got to, we slept outside, so stayed in line for like 18 hours,
Oh
16
my.
hours to get into Hall H. It was like 9 o'clock at night. And we're like, okay, this opens at noon tomorrow. Let's lay here in the grass. But so there's like a little side street over on the side where like, because there's literally 10,000 people like sleeping out.
Yeah.
There's this little this little road on the side that like we didn't know, but that's like apparently that's where the celebrities kind of come in and to go into the back because that's where like their I don't know setup room is or whatever. But there's a little tiny bit of a traffic jam, and there's like a limo, and the window comes down, and it's Aaron Paul, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, Break It Bad, Jesse Pinkman!" And he opens the door and comes running out and spends like seemed like forever, 3 minutes maybe, high fiving, shaking hand, not really signing autographs, but like
Yeah, that would take much longer.
meet and quick meet and greeted like 150 people, and we were right there. So I got to high five Jesse Pinkman at the height of his popularity.
That's awesome for him though. He's like, "What's up, bitches?"
Exactly, it was just exactly like that. And then like the limo honked because the
Yeah.
car started moving. He ran over, jumped back in, and they were gone.
Yeah. See, awesome guy. He seems like a really awesome guy.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, and then obviously Karen Gillian as Nebula from the Marvel movies, and Doctor Who aide.
Right. Yep. Doctor Who.
Was she with the Tenant or
Uh,
or was it the 11th? I don't know these doctors.
um,
But She was with one of
Okay.
those doctors.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so this movie, man, from the clip that I saw, I was like, oh, okay, let me go watch this. And it still super surprised me on how this movie goes. So let's just get into it because this movie is a tight hour 30,
Right.
right? And so we get introduced to Sarah, who's played by Karen Gillan, kind of living pretty like a monotonous life.
You missed the whole intro to the movie.
Well, yeah, she goes to get Mexican food.
No, the whole intro is you see the guy like standing with the table with the weapons, and then they drop the
Oh,
screen. He's out in the middle of the
yeah,
football field,
yeah,
and he's like, he gets shot with an arrow.
yeah. So yeah, there's like this televised duel that's happening between two guys, and
Yeah,
like he unveils the table of weapons. There's like a crossbow, a knife, I think like a axe or something, and like it's being televised. So you're like, okay, this is sort of like a not a dystopian world, but a world where like murder is televised.
right.
A duel to the
Where,
death.
like where it should be in every world.
Yeah, and then like but the what's it called? The guy that we're following is able to kill his opponent.
Yes.
And we see like when it pans up it's him and we're like, "Oh, twins?" But then like the what's it called, the anchor, the host is like, "Oh, so are you the original or the double?" And he's like, "I'm the double."
Right.
And he's like, "Oh." You're like, what? What's going on? Is this a what's a Blade Runner situation? Is it? But then it opens up with Karen Gillan ordering Mexican food, and I hate this
Right.
question.
I, it,
What was
it,
that?
it was a great way to start though. It
Yeah.
really like captures your attention because the, if they just started with the Mexican food, it would have been like 15 minutes of like this slow burn where you're like, I don't understand really what's going on. This
I
is
mean,
such a slow movie. Like, so I
yeah.
felt like it was really good. They had to throw that in the beginning to really catch you because now you're like, what doubles, clones? What's going on?
It,
And
it
so now you're in it.
it depends though, like right, because it could have been a really slow burn. It depends on your audience, really,
True,
right?
true.
Because you could have like either gone like with the start of the Mexican food, and she turns on the TV, and it could have been the duel.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
Well,
like
yes,
you
you're
could have
right.
just
They could have done it
yeah, but
that
like
way.
you know for like yeah, you're to your point, yeah, it's a great way to hook somebody who doesn't know anything about this movie. Because yeah, the first like
And I went in this not even watching a trailer or anything. I was just like,
you're like,
I
oh
saw the
man,
picture and I was like, oh hey, that's the girl from Jumanji. Got it.
oh she's also in Jumanji, right? Yeah. Oh man, so yeah, like but like she seems kind of depressed because she like well first of all I hate this fucking question where like you order a whole bunch of food and like they insinuate like yeah that's for two people, right? Like no, it's for me. Right. I had this situation happen to me recently where I was like gonna go grocery shopping, but they say, hey, never go grocery shopping when you're hungry because you're gonna buy a bunch of shit you don't really need. So I went to go eat, and then the person was all like, "Oh, just you today?" I was like, I looked at them like, really? Yeah, just me. Like,
I
it's like,
was just at the gym. I'm protein loading.
it's like, how much of a tip do you not want? Right? And so but like she goes home, she eats, she attempts to masturbate, but then she gets a call from who we assume is like her spouse, but it's her boyfriend Peter. And this is kind of like the first time you get a sense of like her personality, Sarah's personality, super just straight to the fact, and it kind of is like a reoccurring theme throughout the movie, where like a lot of people are just very curt
Right.
with
Yeah.
everything, but she seems much more depressed. And like but it's funny because there's like little glimpses where like her and Peter are talking, and she mentions one of Peter's coworkers who's Sam, and this is like kind of like the most emotion she shows, like, oh yeah, Sam, yeah, he's an idiot, right? And he's like, oh, actually no, he's actually been pretty good. I've been thinking about giving him like most improved like worker. and then she gets like depressed again.
Right. Yep.
But then like the call kind of cuts out, and she's like, "Hey, I'm actually pretty tired. I'm gonna go to sleep." He's like, "Do you want me to call before you go?" She's like, "No, I'm just gonna do it now." And then, call cuts off, and she goes back to like going to masturbate. And it cuts to like the next morning, where when she wakes up, there is just a ton of blood coming out of her mouth after she's had like a dream.
Yeah, she has a really weird dream. She's eating breakfast or something with her mom,
Yeah.
and her mom's just like, "Why are you eating so much? Are you just trying to not have to talk to me?" And then her mom gives her some change, and she starts eating like the pennies.
What's a penny collection?
Oh, right, right, yes. She's like, "Oh yeah, I found your old penny collection."
Yeah, and then she starts eating the pennies because she doesn't want to talk to her mom. And then that's when she wakes up, and it kind of makes sense because like blood does taste like copper.
Right. Yeah.
And so like when she wakes up, it seems like it's been a normal occurrence because she kind of wakes up and just like goes about her day. Like she cleans up the sheets and all that. She doesn't
Right.
really mention anything until she's like, I should probably go to the hospital. And like,
Right. And it's very like not urgent, very like just
yeah,
yeah.
she's doing it like she's going to the post office,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
but,
exactly. Oh, I should probably drop this letter off
but when she
at the
gets
post
there,
office.
there's like a guy with like a finger cut off. There's like a baby like crying, and then like the receptionist is like, "Is this an emergency?" And she's like, "I guess no, probably not." But then like as soon as she ends that, she like vomits blood.
Yeah, yeah.
And she's like, "Oh shit! I thought you said it was an emergency." And so all of a sudden she starts to get tests ran on her, and then like her husband or like her boyfriend and her mom start to call her, but she only really talks to her boyfriend.
Right.
And like the conversation with her boyfriend's, he's like, "Hey, are you okay?" It's very cut dry. But while she's talking to her boyfriend, like Sam is texting him,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Oh no, sorry. Sam was just like, we got drunk, and I got a taxi for him. He just texted me that he's home okay." And I was like, "Is it Samuel or is it
Samantha.
Samantha?"
Yeah.
And like while she's laying up in the hospital, he's like, "Oh, so what are you doing tonight?" And she's like, "I'm in a hospital." And he's, "Oh, right. You should probably get some rest." And as he's trying to get her off the phone, like texts keep pouring in.
Yeah.
And he's like, so she's like, yeah, I should probably just go to sleep. and and so like after that, like the doctor, who was also like terrible bedside manner, she's like, "Yeah, you should probably go home. Like we don't know what's wrong with you, and just go home."
Right. Yeah. No reason for you to stay here while we just wait for answers for the tests.
Right? Just we'll see. And so like the when she goes home, I don't know if it's like a human thing where you try to like think that you're better, so maybe you'll get better or something.
Right.
Because she's like, she goes to the gym, she gets creeped.
Oh, and that was the doctor's yeah, just when you go home, just take it easy and
Oh,
no drinking,
and then the
no
next
exerting
scene,
yourself.
yeah, the next scene, she's chugging.
She's just drinking right out of a bottle of wine.
Yeah,
Next morning, she goes to the gym.
it's not even. I don't think it's wine. I think it was like hard liquor.
It may have been, yeah.
Yeah, but then the next morning she goes to the gym. She's on the treadmill. She gets creeped out by some guy who decides to run next to her, even though there's like 10 other treadmills
I
that are empty.
I hate. Oh,
I don't
hate
know.
that.
I don't know. I'm kind of like
That's
that guy.
that's the guy who like comes in like a line of urinals, and he's the guy who stands at the urinal directly next to you.
That's me. I think it's funny. Like when I like also it's also when you're parking, like when like, a guy who has a really nice car, sometimes they'll just park really far away so nobody can like ding their door.
Right.
I park right next to them because I just think it's funny. I don't know. It's like it's such a dumb thing. And for the treadmill, it's like, oh, I'm gonna get next to this girl, so I have somebody who I'm competing with in my mind. It's so stupid. But no, like, so she like gets home, she calls her, she calls Peter, and she's like, hey, I just went to the gym. I think, I think that was just like a stomach flu or something. I'm feeling so good right now. Like, I got home, I took off all my clothes. Look how good I look right now. Like, it's what every fat guy does when they go to the gym for the first time. They're like, yeah, I'm looking jacked. That's what I do.
It does. Like, you feel swole.
Yeah.
Like,
But Peter's like, hey, I think on the form that you filled out with the emergency contact, you put my number in your primary contact, and so you're dying.
yeah. So he's like, I got a message from a number I didn't notice, so I didn't answer it, and it went to voicemail. And since they thought it was you, they left a really detailed message. And you're dying.
But not see. You said it with like compassion and empathy.
Right.
So he's like, you're dying. Super dead. This whole movie is like super deadpan. So like,
right. And then she's kind of like, oh, okay, maybe I should go talk to the doctor.
Yeah.
Like, very like not worried about it.
Yeah. So the doctor is like, hey, haha, little mix up. Let's keep that between us, because she doesn't want to get like sued by like HIPAA, right? Like it's a HIPAA violation. And she's like, hey, you're the disease that you have, which it never gets disclosed what kind of disease she has. She's like, you're gonna die. It's pretty guaranteed. And she's like,
no, it's 100%, 100% we're going to that.
Yeah. And she's like, well, what are my chances? Which is like a funny thing to say. She's like, and then she's like, 98%. She's like, well,
it's like, I thought you just said 100%. Well, yeah, there's always a 2%
margin of error.
Margin.
Yeah. And she's like, what? I feel good right now. And she's like, yeah, but that's false.
Right. Yeah, you'll probably feel good while the disease is slowly killing you.
Yeah, the disease will take you slowly and painlessly, but it will kill you.
How long? How long do I have? Oh, we have no idea.
But there's a program for replacements, so like, you will be sad that you're dying, but the people around you don't have to be. So you can get yourself a clone. And so, like, later that night, she kind of, like, thinks about it, ruminates over this whole situation, and then I forgot if she watches something or, like a little, I don't know, hallucination kind of comes over her. But she's like, she calls the company, and she's like, I'm dying, I need a replacement. Or a consultation. So the next morning, she goes there, and...
Is that where she watches the video about? No, not yet.
No, she does watch the video. Yeah, it's like she skips through the video though. She's like, skip. Is there like a ×2 button? And then like the person who like actually owns the company is like, I'm actually a double, and then he goes to kiss his like wife, but then his wife kind of leans away. So it's like you can already kind of tell like this is like unnatural.
But he does say, I've been a double for 11 years. And then he's got like a 15-year-old kid, but he's also got like an 8-year-old kid. So then it's like...
I mean, like grief is a funny thing. And, we kind of see like that towards the end of this movie where like it's good at first and then it gets fucking weird.
Right.
But no, so she goes there, she goes for the consultation, and like she's like, I can't pay that prices. And good salesman technique will like, is there a price on the people you love sadness for you? So she ends up getting the clone.
Right, and it's a very like you said, salesman. It's very much, well, you don't really have to worry about it. I mean, you pay for a couple months, but then you die. and then your replacement just has to finish making the payments. It's not your worry.
Yeah. Trash. That's super fucking trash, dude. But no, yeah, the clone comes out and like, hey, they're like, hey, there was an issue with the eye color process, so it's blue instead of brown. And Sarah's like, don't worry about it. Blue's actually a much more rare eye color, so it's kind of cool. And the guy's like, well, here we'll throw you a 5% discount for the inconvenience. And so Sarah goes home with the clone. The clone's asking a bunch of questions, like the kind of questions you would ask on a first date.
Right, right. Because yeah, because the clone is basically going to be taking over her life, but it's like the questions get more and more
Invasive.
intimate.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Because like, at first it's like, oh, what kind of food do you like? What kind of music do you like? And then it goes into like, well, what's your favorite sexual position? What's Peter's favorite sexual position? And you're like, oh, this is kind of weird. And so like, yeah, they get home and like, off the bat, it's already kind of like a tough situation because the clone is already showing signs of not liking the things that Sarah likes.
Yeah, yeah.
She's like, this clothes looks drab. You're probably gonna have to take me shopping for new shit.
I feel like I'm in a little bit better shape than you are, so your clothes are a little loose. We'd probably have to go shopping and get me some better fitting clothes.
Yeah, I would have decommissioned that shit right away. But yeah, and like, but then 10 months go by,
Uh, right, right.
and man, this like the clone has developed its own personality, and she's much more happier than Sarah seems to be. She's much more fashionable, and man, it's almost like a cuckold situation because she kisses Peter in front of her, and it's like deeply passionate.
Right. Yeah.
And Sarah's like, okay. And then she tells her, like, we're probably going to have sex tonight. And I'm a loud moaner. So just to let you know. And then she's like,
Yeah, yeah.
oh,
Just to warn you.
yeah. And then she's like, oh, any idea when you're going to die? It's kind of getting cramped in here.
Right. Yeah. I'm supposed to take over for you, but you're like
Yeah.
third wheeling.
Yeah. It's like weird. And so she goes to the doctor and she's like, it's weird. Every morning I wake up and I'm thinking, oh, will the next morning be my last morning? Or, well, and the doctor's like, hey, I don't know how to tell you this, but you're in the margin of error.
Right. Yeah. You're that 2% that shouldn't exist, and you've gotten to 100% remission. So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, your stomach thing, it's not even there anymore. You're not going to die.
Yeah. And now the issue is your clone. You're probably going to want to get that decommissioned because, you can't have two of you rolling around here.
Right. It's the law. It's the law.
Unfortunately, when Sarah like gets this whole revelation, she goes to her mom's place first, and Peter and the clone are there.
Yeah.
And her mom was like, "What the fuck?" Peter,
Right. Because she was like, I'm not going to tell my mom. I'm just going to let the clone just take my spot, and mom never has to know that I got a disease and died.
kind of genius. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, mom is like, "What's going on?" And Peter's like, "Hey, she did this on her own. I didn't do this."
Right. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, mom's like, I was wondering why you used to ignore my phone calls all the time. And then all of a sudden you were answering the phone and being nice and coming over and helping me do stuff.
Yeah, so she takes Peter outside. She tries to make out with him at first, but he's like, "Hey, stop." Yuck.
Right. And she's like, no, but we're was it decommission?
Yeah, we're gonna decommission her. I'm actually fine now. And he's like, "Hey, listen, like I don't want you anymore."
Right. Yeah.
She's
And
like, "What do you
even if
mean?"
I want the other one, and if you decommission her, I'm still not gonna want you.
Yeah, because he's like, the way she says my name, there's like an inflection in there of like happiness. When you say it's all flat, and you're just, like my coworkers make fun of you when you come, and I do too, and I don't want to be around you anymore. And she's like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "Yeah, like I'm gonna stay with her. I mean, you guys are gonna duel, but she's so much more fitter than you that I can't imagine her losing to you."
What? Oh, yeah, and there's we don't even know about the duel at that point.
Yeah. And so like, yeah, like, bye. And he goes back in the house, and she's like, "Wait, what the fuck? This is my mom's house." And so like the mom kind of just shuts her out though.
Right? Yeah, it's like, why would if you guys are the same person and this one loves me more than you do? Why would I pick you over
Yeah.
her?
I don't even know if you're the real one. First of all, she's the real one. And then like later on that day, it was like she tries to, like, a lawyer calls her, like the clone's lawyer,
Right? Yeah, and
and
she's kind of assuming that it's like, what to do to decommission, and
yeah,
yeah, and then it's a lawyer who's like, oh hey, yeah, they're fighting for their right to be the one who lives.
yeah, she put a motion to stay. And he's like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Well, if a clone's been around long enough and they've developed their own personality, they can file a motion to stay. Now, as you know, there could only really be one of you, very Highlander rules." They don't say that, but I was like, that's Highlander rules. Come on.
Oh yeah, totally. Yep.
And so in a year from now, you will have to fight in a duel, and, whoever wins gets to stay.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, you will have to pay alimony. Pretty much. So not only is she having to pay the loan for the replacement, she now has to pay for alimony for the clone.
Right. So
And
that they
and
can live.
yeah, and then she goes to her own lawyer, and then the lawyer is like, "Hey, listen, Peter filed the leases in Peter's name, so you have 2 days to move out." And it was pretty generous if you ask me. Usually it's only 1 day, but and she's pretty much like shit out of luck, And then when as she's like moving her stuff out, Peter's like, "Hey, can you take that bloody sheet? That shit's fucking gross."
Right. I
Uh,
told you to wash it in hot water, and then you washed it in cold, so now there's like a blood stain. We don't want that.
no, no, you wash it in cold water. You said you should have washed it in cold water.
Oh,
Yeah. And then the clone calls, and she's like, "Is she still there?" Like the clone is talking like she's like the new wife, you
right.
know.
Oh yeah, totally.
And she's like, "Oh,
And
tell her to take that bloody sheet out."
right.
Yuck.
Yeah. Just tell her she could take whatever she wants
Yeah.
besides the couch, because I have a different style than her, and we're going to replace it all anyway.
And so now Sarah's like, "Oh man, what am I gonna do?" And like the lawyer's like, "Oh, you should probably hire a combat trainer to like teach you, you know, how to
Right.
kill
Yeah.
something."
Right. Because is it a year? till
One
the
whole
duel?
year.
Yeah.
And so she's looking through like Craigslist ads or something like that, and she finds like a cheap combat trainer,
Right. It's the ad. It's the
Yeah.
cheapest combat trainer.
and it turns out to be Aaron Paul. And so like the good chunk of this movie, I gotta like speed it up because we're like at 30. The good chunk of this movie is like now just her combat training.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So she meets Aaron Paul, and he's like, "Oh, we gotta train you and see how see what your body is at, And so like she does like some gym stuff, but like, he's like, "Hey, you're probably gonna have to work out on your own, and then like when you work with me, we could work on like combat train, like hand to hand and weapons training. Meanwhile, we'll watch all these like gory movies to get you ready for the killer mindset."
Right. Yeah. Because you're very timid, and you feel like you're not going to be able to handle blood. So if you watch these horror movies, these very bloody,
And it's
like
funny.
80s horror movies.
Yeah, and it's funny because like they kind of like build like a weird relationship. where
Yeah.
like it's like a little bit of movie reviews, a little bit of like combat training, and she's like, and when he tells her to go work out on her own, he's also like, find something that you enjoy doing, so like it'll be easier for you to work out. And she's like, yeah, it's fine, I'm like, I'm running, I'm doing hip hop classes, and it's like, all right, cool, 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 cool. um, it's that's the whole scene is funny, right? But then like he like there was an issue, right? Because they're getting closer to the year date
Yeah.
where they have to do the duel, and she goes to like a clothing shop, and she's like, I want to buy something that I want to die in. And the salesperson's like, "Oh yeah, we got some new stuff, clothes to die for." And she's like, "No, no, 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 it's clothes to die in, not to
Yeah.
die for."
Yeah.
But it turns out like the duel gets postponed for a month.
Oh, right, because of bad weather.
Oh, because of bad weather. Because bad weather. Sarah's like, I don't mind getting wet, and she's like, yeah, but it's not really good for television. So,
Right, but
I
there's not an audience isn't going to want to sit out in that.
yeah, but I beg to differ. I think like duels in like raining weather is like even more dramatic.
Right, right.
But they're like, okay. And so she goes back to Aaron Paul. And she's like, hey, I'm kind of strapped for cash, but don't worry. I'll get you the money. I want to combat train with you for one more month. And like before that, they have like a really funny scene of the combat training where they're like it's almost like a theater like thing where they're like, gun, dodge, dodge, but the third one gets me. Oh, but it's non-fatal.
Right, yep. Like improv, slow motion,
Yeah.
fight scene.
He's like, grenade. Oh, super smart. Taking out my weapons cache. Now what will I do? Super funny, right? But then Aaron Paul did mention, like, hey, if you can't pay, like, with money, there are other ways that you could possibly pay for. And so, but
Right.
before that,
And she basically spent her last bit of money to buy this outfit for the duel,
yeah,
and then it got postponed. And she's like, "Oh, how am I supposed to? I gotta pay
yeah,
something for the stupid
alimony.
payment, the payment on the
Yeah.
on the
But, like,
replacement."
before she goes to Aaron Paul to, pay in other ways, she goes to see Peter. But it's funny because, like, when they meet this time, Sarah does seem a lot more upbeat.
Right.
She seems a lot more like more sure of herself. She's a little her tone in her voice is less like deadpan than it was at the beginning of this movie.
Right. Yeah.
And so and her and Peter kind of have like a weird sort of not rekindling, but they have a good
but a
meeting.
moment.
Yeah, a good moment. And so she's like, yeah, and then so she goes back to Aaron Paul. She's like, hey, you said there was other ways I could pay for it, right? And he's like, yeah. And then they start to undress a little bit. But then I think like a T-Pain song started playing, and they're just doing hip hop dances.
Right. Yeah.
And it turns out like Aaron Paul's like, I've always wanted to learn how to hip hop dance, but I was always too afraid to do it. And now,
But now that I know the basic moves, I can join a class.
well, no, he's like, now that I know the basic moves, I actually signed up for a class. And she's like, great, that's awesome. And then like the next scene, I think they're back training again, and he's like, this is my dog Cooper. And she's like, adorable dog. He's like, yeah, I named it after my dad who passed away. Aw. It's like the most like deadpan awe, but it's still the most emotion that she's shown, right? And then she's like, and then Aaron Paul's like, I want you to kill him.
Yeah. He's 19 and he's sick and
Yeah.
he's in a lot of pain. You should kill him.
And he's like, I don't know if I can do this. He's like, you have to. He's dying. He's hurt. And she kind of does it. She's like, I can't. And he's like, oh, I failed as a sensei. But then all of a sudden, like across the road, she sees her clone like watching her,
Yeah.
and no hesitation, she tries to shoot her. She ends up unfortunately killing somebody else's dog. It is bad. It's like through the eye. It's like the dog's dead. But then she starts chasing after her clone, and then she runs into two twins,
Right.
and they're like, "Oh, you lost? Are you looking for your sister?" And she's like, and then
And right, and they're twins, so they just
yeah,
assume that these two girls are twins.
and then she starts to tell the most harrowing story to this to Karen Gillan, who's a stranger. She's like, "My sister followed a strange man in a van, but then she showed back up three days later, and then we have fun, but she's a lot more quiet now. And then on Mondays she has to see Mr. Parker." It's like, oh gosh, it's like the saddest thing ever, and
Right.
it's more sad because it's like in the eyes of an innocent child
Right. Who
who
has no
idea
concept of,
the horrors her twin sister had to go through.
yeah.
And then she meets up with her twin or her double, and she's like, "You tried to kill me." She's like, "Yeah, I've been training for a whole year to kill you, and it kind of just on site situation." But then now the clone seems to be sort of like not wanting Sarah's life. She's like, "Me and Peter fight over the littlest things. Your mother is so fucking clingy. It's like every day a phone call, every weekend a brunch, blah blah blah." And then she takes her to like this support group of duel survivors,
Right. Yep.
and it's kind of like a mixed bag. Like some people are there as the doubles and some people are the originals, but they're like, "I don't know, it just felt so wrong to kill them, and a part of me has died." Both sides, right? And
Right.
Karen Gillan is like, "Hey, listen, that shit was sad, but I'm still gonna fucking kill you." And she's like, "Well, you don't think I haven't been training for a whole year? I'm gonna kill you too." But, like, this is kind of like where I kind of got mixed up because then like she's like, "Can we see each other in the morning first?" And or like does she divulge her plan of like maybe we'll just run away together and then we'll cross the border and then we could live separate lives.
Because she doesn't really say that, but that's kind of like you kind of get that a little bit
Yeah, or like
the next morning.
and so like
I,
but
and I guess they're trying to make it to Canada because in Canada there's no duels,
yeah, there's no duels.
so they can both.
Yeah, remnants can stay or something. I don't know. But they go to like the border and they're like, "Hey, we should drink water before we go, just in case we get parched on the way there."
Right. Got
And
to stay hydrated.
and at
It's a
this
long
point,
hike.
yeah, and at this point Sarah's like kind of bought into this idea like maybe she doesn't want to murder somebody, especially somebody that's essentially her.
Right.
And so they both like chug some water before they set out. And Sarah's like again like a very much more different person than she was at the beginning of this movie because she's like hopeful, she's optimistic, she's like, "Oh, I'm so happy that you actually came to find me, that we could just like run away from our shitty life here."
Right.
But then all of a sudden like the double has been quiet and she turns around, and then when she turns around Sarah ends up coughing up blood.
Yeah.
And Sarah's like, oh, like, sorry, before that, on the drive there, the clone is like, "I never learned how to drive. It seems pretty easy though. You put your foot there, the the wheel goes left right. When you go left right, cool." And so like, yeah, it turns out the clone ends up poisoning Sarah.
Right.
And then like as they're waiting for the duel to happen because it's supposed to happen that day, all of a sudden you see somebody in Sarah's clothing. Pretty much, you see the clone wearing Sarah's clothing, walking and limping there, and she like goes to the host, and the host is like, "Where have you been?" She's like, "Sorry, car trouble. The wheel. I got confused about the wheel." And you're like, oh, "Okay, so it's definitely the fucking clone." The mom and the boyfriend kind of like, I think they pretty much knew from that statement that it was the
I
clone,
think, yeah,
and like Sarah's like, I'm the real one. And so they go through this whole trial process because it's illegal, or like it's against the law for the, either one, the original or the double, to run away. And then they have to go to court and they have to verify that this is the real Sarah, and
yeah,
which they do. But the clone doesn't look happy at all, right? Peter's like getting dressed and he's like, hey, you're getting fat and you should probably put some sunscreen on, fucking take care of yourself, you know what I mean? And oh, don't forget to keep making those loan payments for, the clone.
you're, yeah,
And then like as she like is going to work in the busted car that she was driving, her mom calls and she's like, Peter sees it. He's like, "Are you gonna answer that?" And she looks up at Peter's like, "It's my mom, not yours." But the mom also knows that Sarah is, or the Sarah that they have right now is the clone, because she's like, "Hey, I picked up some contacts for you because I feel like you would have forgotten, but I feel like that's a pretty important thing for you to have. So I got a couple. I got like a month's supply for you. You could pay me back whenever, and we'll see each other at brunch, okay? We're gonna see each other at brunch." And the clone is as depressed as the original Sarah was at the
right.
beginning of the movie. She's at a roundabout, but she went the wrong way. She stopped in the middle of the roundabout. People are all honking at her, and the movie ends right there. All right, before we get to our thoughts about this movie, let's go to our other section, high star and low star.
You don't. There was some tens, but
Mm-hmm.
they were not good descriptions. They were
Okay.
mostly just whatever. But a ton of nines. So we got a 9 out of 10. Hysterical look at our own mortality. I have never had the pleasure of viewing a Riley Stearns movie before this gem of a film. If any of them are as hilariously original as this one, I want to delve into his filmography. Karen Gillan caught my attention for the first time in Jumanji, and she plays far more complicated roles and excels. She displays impressive comedic timing and the depth that she had, and a depth that she hasn't gotten a chance to explore until now. This is Paul's best work since Breaking Bad, and this role is perfectly suited for him. I also found myself generally belly laughing on more than one occasion, yet I wouldn't classify this as a traditional comedy. Additionally, it contained a litany of thought provoking situations that had me thinking long after the credits rolled. It's a shame it hasn't been talked about as much as some of the other movies that clearly have less ambition and less to say about society. Go into this film with an open mind and no preconceived notions, and I guarantee it will surprise you.
And then we got 1 out of 10. I got duped. I think the fun in this film is that after you watch it, you could tell your friends, "Yo, this joint is crazy good, son," and laugh at them while they get tortured for an hour and 34 minutes. Or if you want to have a mental breakdown and cry in the corner of an empty theater, trying to figure out what possibly was going on through Riley Stearns' head as Karen Gillan's god awful impersonation of an emotionless AI is booming into your ears, then yeah, watch this. Nah, I think this movie it's really, it is for a very certain audience because it's deadpan dark comedy.
Yeah,
I don't know, Colby. What did you think about this movie?
I freaking loved this movie. This was, and I went and I looked, and there was like one other movie, The Art of Fighting or
Oh,
something
The Art of
that
Self Defense with
so
Jesse.
I had not seen that, but I remember seeing previews for that and being interested in it. I'm definitely watching it now. Like this, Riley hasn't done a ton of stuff, but yeah, I very interesting to see where he goes, what else he does. This I really like the way that this was put together, the way it was shot. Um, I thought it was directed really well, just overall
Yeah.
fun, a great dark comedy.
What were some takeaways like as like as far as like the themes of this movie was for you?
It did. It had a lot of like reflection on society, like the especially all the medical stuff, like it, especially we have uh, the
The HIPAA
United
violation. Oh
Healthcare
yeah,
thing that was like just happened, like it's so reflected on that, like how uncaring like the healthcare industry can be, how unpersonal, where like it seemed like they certainly cared more about the living people
yeah,
and them not being sad than it did about the patients.
yeah.
Like I felt that just, I mean, like I've had some great doctors, but like it definitely the medical field as a whole just is like robotic now. It seems.
Yeah, I was like, you want me to get a clone? No, no. If I'm not here, the people around me have to be sad for at least 1 to 3 years, and then move on with their life. But
Right.
also, come visit my grave or wherever my ashes are. I want you to visit. Like,
I
no.
it kind of felt like almost like it was like a Black Mirror episode where it was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we'll copy your consciousness and put it in a robot, so that way the robot can keep your family.
This was a
But
Black
here,
Mirror episode.
but here it was like
Yeah.
an actual clone, and it
Yeah.
was
Yeah, it's super jarring. I was like, no, like I feel like cuz then like when they talked about like, oh, you don't want the people around you to be sad. No, it's like it's a part of human nature to be sad and
right,
learn how to cope with it and then kind of just just like what's it called? Last week's movie, it's like the way to really gain a semblance of like immortality is just to be remembered by the people that you left behind.
right, yeah.
Hopefully you
Oh,
get
right.
remembered
Here,
fondly.
no one would ever really remember the you
Yeah,
because they would remember the her.
exactly. Yeah, and then like, yeah, it's like twins are essentially genetically the same person, but they're not.
Right,
It's so like, yeah, you'll remember a half of me, and then you'll remember this other person's version of who they end up becoming.
right, right.
And they also like they started some themes like with the whole like televised duel, and that's like one of the only things that kind of like not irked me, but it was like you started like a theme or you started a commentary on the maybe like for that instance the commentary on like reality TV and our voyeuristic nature to watch something that's you know not good. You're seeing the death of a living being,
Right.
but you're like televising it to for other people's entertainment. So that I was like, I really wish maybe put something in there to kind of tie that
I
off
I I thought about that too, but I feel like it would have taken the movie.
into a different direction.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would have pulled you away from this the pureness of the
The
you
clone.
fighting against yourself.
Yeah.
And I thought it was super interesting that it was like, because when she talks to her boyfriend at that like lunch right at the end, kind
Yeah.
of like saying goodbye. She's like, yeah, I've been training like the whole year. I'm planning on living, and he's like, oh yeah, well she never even talks about it. Like I don't know if she's done anything for it. So it was all of a sudden it was like now it's this person who is like trained for a year versus somebody who's like, oh, how can I cannot I thought she wasn't going to train and I just assumed I could beat her. But
Yeah.
now that she's trained, I know I can't. So how can I trick her so that I can win? Because that's the only way to do it.
Yeah. Because
And
then
so it
like
was like this, like brain versus brawn kind
yeah.
of.
Well, yeah. It's because it's also funny too. It's like it's the whole what is it called? The revolver underneath the table. I
Yeah,
forgot what is that term called? I forgot. It's you don't show a gun and you not shoot it situation because like earlier they're doing slideshows of how people got murdered or died,
right, right.
and one of them was like she's like this is the only one I couldn't figure out, but I assumed as electrocution. And he's like wrong, close but wrong, poison. But they don't give you poison because it's too slow and it's not good for TV.
Right. So then it also, like, to me, that was also like, so that's the one weapon that she didn't study, and that ended up being the one that got used against her because she
Yeah, it was
didn't know
already
how to.
super suspicious. I'm not, because then like when they first set out for the hike, original Sarah or Sarah Prime was like, I didn't bring any weapons, but I don't want to assume that you didn't. So can I check your backpack? And the clone is like, I will also check your backpack.
Right,
But
right.
then but the clone is the one that provided the water.
Yeah,
So I was like, she's gonna get poisoned right here. But no, and I also think it's like, it's like a slight commentary. It was like, no, you should probably just cut out the people that aren't for you, because obviously she wasn't happy with Peter because it seemed, I don't know, at parts he seemed like a good guy, but then it's like for the majority, it's like, oh, you're trash.
well, I felt like it's one of those things where when you first start dating somebody,
Yeah,
like you're like, this is the greatest relationship ever, and then like after you really get to know them, you're like 6 months in, you're like, this, I'm not spending the rest of my life with this
yeah,
person. But then the clone comes in, and you're like, all of a sudden starting over, and it's like, whoa, you're back to that first 6 months,
yeah,
and everything is like, wow, oh, it just, the clone is just better than you.
yeah,
And then after 6 months, a year, you're like, oh no, they're not,
yeah.
they're you. And
Because
I
like,
just there's just that initial,
honeymoon phase.
right, yeah,
Because it's like, at the beginning, like, it's sort of in the middle when he first breaks up with Sarah, it's like kind of understandable because he's like, you're so sad all the time, like you're not even happy to talk to me or see me. Like, the clone is, she's happy to see me. And it's like, okay, I can kind of get that, when if you're in a relationship with somebody that's emotionally draining, it's
right,
like better to cut it off, right? But then like when you get to the end and you see how he's probably been talking to her the last 6 months, or like he's like, yeah, you're getting fat. You should probably, like there's nicer ways to like kind of bring up that topic. Like it's like, oh hey, like let's hit the gym together. Let's like let's make it an activity for the both of us, which is really like a sugar coating way of like let's get in shape, or like
right.
let's stay healthy together. That way it doesn't really feel like a huge attack, but then it was so much more clinical when he's like, you're getting fat, you're probably going to want to work out. Ugh.
Your skin's not going to right in the sun, you need to start putting stuff on it.
Yeah, cuz you're people.
Because like when the two of them, like, when Sarah and Sarah met,
Yeah.
she was like, wow, yeah, you do look like me, but your hair is
Yeah.
so much shinier than mine,
Yeah.
and you don't have any wrinkles, your skin's like all like fresh and tight. And then when they get into the house, and
Yeah.
it's like the next day, whatever, it's just like, oh yeah, your clothes are a little bit
Yeah.
baggy, or like a little tight on me.
Yeah.
I must be a size smaller than you.
Yeah.
You should
But
go
then
get me some
like
new clothes.
at the end, Sarah's like the one that's like, she's looking much more fit, but it's also
Right,
because like she doesn't have those kind of negative factors in her life anymore. Like her mom is super clingy, super needy, and then you feel obligated. It becomes an obligation to like having to tend to your older parents,
right,
which I think a lot of people kind of go through, but you set up healthy boundaries and try to figure the that way. And then with Peter, it was just like it was so much more like they're not even married, just get divorced or just break up with each other and all that stuff. I don't know. But we're coming up to our hour, so I want to thank you guys for joining us. Make sure to check all of our other theme months down below where we have holiday themes, actor and actresses themes, director and director recommendation themes, definitely there's going to be something out there for you. We do reviews in 4 different sections. If this is the first time you guys are joining us, we have stream it, DVD it, Blu-ray it, and the Ultimate Box Collection. Kobe, where are you at for this one?
This is the easy Blu-ray. I freaking love this movie. I'll definitely watch this. I watched it twice. I watch it,
Yeah, that's
again. This is the kind of movie I like share with people. Yeah, like you said, specific audience. This isn't for everybody, but yeah, for those people, I think this would be.
yeah. If you're like a Monty Python type of guy, like this is sort of just like a different version of that. It's super dry humor, really deadpan. You kind of laugh at the ridiculousness of it all and all that stuff. So I probably go Blu-ray as well. I thought this was a pretty enjoyable movie, even though at first it took me a while to get used to Karen Gillian's like super deadpan deliveries.
It reminded me a little while ago we did The Lobster,
Mm-hmm.
and that was super deadpan. Like also like it felt like that a little bit right at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. And so like if that you kind of have to get through like the first 20 minutes of it, and then like the last like hour is gonna kind of like help you cruise through that,
It's,
because
it's
Aaron Paul is also super hilarious in this movie, just because
I,
he's
absolutely, yeah.
it's funny though, but he's like the best version of like whatever a person is in that world, because he thoroughly enjoys what his job is. And that's the advice he gives Sarah Prime. He's like, find something that you love to do and do that shit.
Right, yeah, because she's like, oh, I'm not really motivated to keep doing things. And it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, well, but you got to find something you like, so that way you are.
Yeah, exactly. Which is like, a great advice just in general. But thank you guys for joining us. Make sure to check all of our links down below where we have all of our social medias.
Yeah, we get our Twitter, X, our Threads, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. We got it all.
And
We
we're
got it all.
trying. I feel like the most we're really on is Twitter, so because that one's easy.
It is. It is.
Thank you guys for joining us. My name is Barry.
This is Colby.
And this is Who Watches This. If you guys want to check out the theme music, it is Lee Rosevere. It's called Arcade Montage. It's on our album Music Podcast 3, and the Bandcamp is down below.
Thank you.